Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, please click that button and subscribe to our channel. On the menu today, and as you can see right in front of your eyes, we're going to make a lovely beef stew with some potatoes. There's some wonderful flavours in there. A kind of West Indian, Jamaican kind of affair. I've got some Scotch bonnet chilli in there, some allspice or pimento, some thyme, dried and fresh. It's really delicious. It's actually even got a touch of ketchup in it. Let's go and do it. So let's get started. I've got a nice pan here. I'm lucky enough to have a Dutch pot, which is a Jamaican style cooking vessel. I've got a touch of oil in there. Today I'm using corn oil, but you can use any oil that you like, I suppose. Let's start off by getting a few spices in there. Some bay leaves. Here I've got some whole allspice or pimento, and as you can see I've got some peppercorns here. They look exactly the same apart from the size really. A few whole peppercorns in there. I'm going to drop in today a little bit of star anise, just one of those. Some dried thyme, and I'm going to put in a touch of salt. Now I'm going to add some pimento or allspice powder as well. While I'm here, I'm just going to drop out beef here. I've got some strips of beef cut, and that goes. And I'm going to add a little bit of fresh thyme as well. At this point, I just want to cook those spices with this beef for about 3 or 4 minutes. So we've just got some of these flavours happening there with our meat. And at this stage I'm just going to add some cold water into the pan. Not too much. Now we're going to bring that to the boil and let it cook off. That will just help it tenderize a little bit more. So this process is probably going to take about 8 minutes. So I'm on a high heat, bring that water to the boil, keep stirring it. It will burn off and evaporate, then we're ready for the next stage. There you are. As you can see, that water's burnt pretty much right off now. That just kind of helps tenderise our meat a little. Now at this stage I'm going to go in with some finely chopped garlic and ginger. I've got about equal amounts, like a nice heaped teaspoon of each. And I've got some sliced onions, in they go. At this point I'm going to put in some chilli. I'm using the Scotch bonnet pepper today, which is there. It's fairly lethal, this, and I've got quite a lot in there. We're kind of into our heat, so I've sliced that up and in it goes. You could use a milder chilli if you like. Well, in fact you could use a hotter one. There's quite a few that are hotter than this. Now if you don't have the fresh chilli, you might be able to get your hands on some of this stuff, which is a Jamaican hot pepper sauce. This is actually my favourite brand. There's lots of brands. You can probably get some in the store. Kind of works in a similar way. Not quite as good, I don't think, but as the fresh, but a pretty good alternative. Okay, I'm just going to cook this again. We're on a kind of fairly lively heat. I'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes. And at this stage I'm now going to add some allspice powder, a generous few pinches. Some more water. Like a cup of cold water that was. And I've got some chopped tomatoes here, roughly chopped. In they go. Now I'm going to lower the heat slightly, not on a simmer. We're going to put a lid on that. Let's cook that for about 6 or 7 minutes. What should happen is those tomatoes will break down into a bit of a sauce or a gravy. I'll be back then. Stir often. Okay, let's jump inside and take a look now. Our tomatoes should have broken down. Let me let a lot of that steam out of there. There you go. I hope you can see that, you guys. Now, it depends on how juicy your tomatoes are. It may depend on whether you want to add a touch of water. Now, I do want to add a bit of water in there. So I'm just going to add a bit more. Just a little splash. That's beautifully thick. Now we may add a touch more water a bit later on. At this point now, we're going to add some potatoes. Now, I've got 2 lots of potatoes here. These little guys, chopped really small. They're going to cook and break down and thicken our sauce. And then some chunkier ones. So again, let's get those mixed in. I mean, you can add pretty much what you want now. You could add some carrots if you wanted, a bit of celery. You could add some red beans maybe. I mean, it's a stew, isn't it? So you can kind of add and take away what you like. I'm just going to go for this beef and potato today. So, at this stage now this is looking a little bit thick. I'm going to cook it for about another 5 or 6 minutes with the lid on a low heat now. But I think in fact, I don't think, for sure, we're going to add a bit more water to that to help those potatoes along. So I'll be back in about 5 or 6. I would have added a little splash of water in there in the meantime. A splash of water. And while I'm here, look, I'm going to add some, I've got some lovely fresh thyme. Lucky to have that from my garden. That's going to add a lovely flavour. Splash more water. Okay, lid back on, and then we're looking for our larger potatoes to be nice and tender. Probably see you in about 10 to 12 minutes. Low heat. Stir often. Okay, let's jump in now and take a look. That's looking fantastic. Those small potatoes have broken down really nicely, and our larger ones are, I mean, they're getting there. Now, the final ingredient always seems a bit strange, but absolutely essential, I find. We're going to put some ketchup in. A nice glug of that. That's going to add a little bit of sweetness, obviously. Get rid of the tartness of the tomatoes. And we're just going to cook that now for just another couple of minutes on a low heat until those potatoes are nice and tender. Our beef is really tender now. We've got a lovely, lovely stew there. Hope you enjoy that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again really soon. Lots of love. Bye bye.